Is this the year where we see Clemson and Dabo Swinney really utilize the transfer portal? And when I say really utilize, I'm not talking about just going and getting one or two guys. I understand they went to the Division II level, grabbed a lineman. I love it. I'm here for it. Go get talent wherever you want to get talent from. But is this the year where we see them get like a handful of guys? I'm talking like 5 or 6, a couple of impact players that just totally change around what you can do as a team. We'll see. We'll talk about it right now, but first things first, make sure you're subscribed right here. Clemson Faithful, had a lot of y'all dialed in, met a lot of y'all when we were there for that Florida State game. We appreciate y'all being a part of what we're doing here, all right? Y'all's feedback and y'all's commitment to this show has been tremendous, so we thank you so much for that. Again, if you haven't subscribed, now's the time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Judy Piquel to let me know how you feel about Clemson and what you think they maybe should do when it comes to their portal approach, all right? So, again, going back to what I was saying, for Clemson, I don't need you to go overhaul the roster. I don't even need double-digit guys. I think at this point, though, I would love to see Clemson go in the transfer portal, grab 4 to 6 guys. I think that would be awesome for them. And it's not so much like they need to do it to survive, but I think they need to do it to uphold their expectations. Because listen, we understand how much people expect of that situation now. Dabo Swinney's been pretty adamant about it too. He's like, hey, we weren't all that before I got here. It took a while for us to build up to have this expectation of winning the ACC and making the college football playoff. And they did it for multiple years in a row, and the bar got all the way up here. And so I understand the frustration of, well, hey, expectations are really high. Yes, but pressure is also privilege. And so you're happy there's expectations. You're happy people care about Clemson football and what they're doing on every single other Saturday. And they expect them to win double-digit games and compete for nice hardware. That's a privilege. And so to uphold that now, I think Clemson needs to adapt a little bit here by utilizing the portal. And I've always said this about Clemson. I think this is 100% true. Clemson to me is a lot like Chick-fil-A. Like Chick-fil-A, they do things their own way, right? The whole my pleasure, the whole deal with being closed on Sundays. But you're okay with it because Chick-fil-A has got one of the best products in the world by most people's opinions. Clemson, for a long time, did things their own way. They were different with how they did their visit schedule. They didn't go into the portal. They recruited differently. Didn't have as many offers out there. And that's all great. Like, I'm here for it. I actually probably lean a little bit more towards Dabo Swinney's way of doing things than I would the general college football world. But the thing is, you can only do things your own way so long as they work. So long as they work to deliver that number one product. Because I'll tell you what, the minute Chick-fil-A gives me a subpar chicken sandwich and I'm not feeling it, I'm like, okay, well, why are they closed on Sundays? Then I start to have an issue with, actually, you know what? The my pleasure thing, kind of corny. Not really a fan of it, actually, now that this product isn't that great. Same thing with Clemson. As we've started to tail off here, people become less and less okay with the way that Dabo Swinney does things that's unorthodox. And tail off is a strong word, but again, going back to that expectation, extremely high. ACC title, college football playoff, what we've come to expect from Clemson in the modern era. But since 2020, it hasn't been that way. In 2021, they're 9-3. Most people, y'all, they would kill for 9-3. Clemson has the bar up here, 9-3. Not okay. 10-2. Yeah, okay, that's all right. 2022, we'll take that. In 2023, now we're 8-4. And so at this point, you're like, hey, what's up? We got it, chicken sandwich ain't as good anymore. I'm not loving the whole we're closed on Sundays thing. We can afford now to get into the game a little bit here and go be active in the portal, right? And I'll be clear about this too. I think there's a lot of people that would love to go to Clemson. That brand, guys they put in the league, their development, like Clemson has a lot to offer. They could go be a player in the portal tomorrow and guys want to go there. So with that being said now, why aren't they? Why isn't that a thing we're seeing here? Well, from what we can tell on the outside looking in, to be clear, that's where we're at on the outside. So I don't know exactly what's going on. But the thing that it seems to be the issue is Clemson wants to protect culture, right? Special culture. It's made them what they are. It's in a lot of ways why they've been so successful. You want to protect that with every fiber of your being. I get it. I'm all about it. I think culture is as important in a lot of respects as what you have on the roster. Right? So you got to have a winning culture. You have a winning way of doing things. And so you'd imagine, again, filling in some blanks here from the outside looking in, the concern would be that if you brought in someone via the portal, you would be concerned about their impact negatively on your culture. The whole, hey, one bad apple ruins the bunch saying. I don't think that's necessarily a reality for where Clemson's at right now. Like that whole one bad apple ruins the bunch. It's true to some degree in small circles, but in a whole football team that has the right culture, my question then becomes, if our culture is so strong at Clemson to where we are worried about adding one bad apple through the portal, we think that would just kind of, take down what we've built here. How strong is the culture really? How solid is it if we're worried about adding one or two guys and that's going to hurt the culture of this thing? I say one or two, 5 to 6 guys, a handful. Is that really something we're worried about? Because from where I'm sitting, culture should keep the standard up here and cause those 5 or 6 guys that transfer in know what they're getting into, make sure they're vetted accordingly, and then they rise up to our standard. I think that's what you've seen Florida State do. And again, we were at the game, saw it up close and personal. Keon Coleman catch that game-winning touchdown in Death Valley. And you couldn't help but feel that day like, these are two different philosophies. And the other philosophy, the inverse philosophy of what Dabo Swinney's done, is what won that football game. Like Keon Coleman transferred in from Michigan State to Florida State. And if he was playing on the other side of the field that day, if he was suiting up with that paw on his helmet and wearing orange, I think Clemson would have won that game. And maybe that's hyperbolic, maybe that's extreme. That's how it feels to me. It really is a thing where you don't have to overturn the roster, but get a handful of guys, enough to impact your roster in a positive way, have them rise to your culture, and go forward. Because what's happening now is people that are using the portal, teams that are using the portal, they're getting better for the most part. Not all of them, not saying, it's just the grass is always greener, but for the most part, teams that use the portal the right way, they get better. Florida State's a great example. They won the conference this year. And so I think the big thing now is great head coaches, great leaders, period, they adapt. Kirby adapts his defensive personnel. Hey, Ohio State, they ran circles around us in the college football playoff when he was at Alabama. Asked why? Said, well, y'all weren't fast enough to run with us. Kirby, going forward to Alabama, gets faster personnel. They sacrifice size for speed. Doing the same thing at Georgia right now. Nick Saban, hey, offensively, we're having trouble being able to match this tempo teams are playing with now. We got to have some of that. Pivots his philosophy, brings in a few coaches. They become a different juggernaut offensively, does Alabama. Got to adapt. Got to adapt. Now, I don't pretend to know more than Dabo Swinney about his football team. Trust me, he makes a lot more money than me to make calls on his team. So I 1,000,000% agree with that and secede that point. But there's a certain point we get to where if the expectation's up here, we got to adapt to where modern college football is. If we want to have the same standard that Chick-fil-A has up here, we want to have the best product on the market, we want to keep doing things our way, well, we got to get that result to match that. Because right now, we're kind of having issues with things being closed on Sundays, with the My Pleasure, all that. Like 8-4 is not the best product on the market. Clemson knows that. I think Dabo Swinney knows that. Tyler from Spartanburg has something to say about that, whether you agree with that or not. I'm not really here to talk about that. That's a whole other topic that we've talked about before. Bottom line, I would love to see Clemson do this. I think they would kill it in the portal. I think Dabo Swinney is a tremendous coach. I think Clemson's a special place. So those are our thoughts on Clemson. Those are our thoughts on the portal. Let me know on socials, at JD Piquel, Twitter and Instagram, what you think about Clemson and what they should do as it pertains to their approach to the transfer portal. Make sure you're subscribed right here. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Bowl game season. We said it on a previous live show. Going to say it again. You have one more opportunity for your team to see them in person. One more. That's it. Don't you want to see them in person, not watch them on TV? Game Time is the best way to make that happen. Okay? You can buy tickets right before the event. You wake up that morning, I do want to go to the game. I've just decided I slept on it, feel good about it, I want to go. But tickets might not be available. No. Game Time, they're the place you can find them if they're available. 2 taps, you've bought your tickets. Also, you know where you're going to sit, so you're not end up sitting behind the Jumbotron or you sit behind the pole or whatever. You can see the view from your seat via the app, via the Game Time platform. So make sure you check with that. Going to make sure that you have the best view of your team before we hit this dreaded period where they're not playing games. Now, Also, if you want to see a comedy show or you want to watch a concert, whatever, Game Time also has that. But for college football, this is really probably where you want to go to get your tickets. So the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time, guess what? Credit you 110% of the difference. So snag tickets without the stress. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. $50 ticket. Redeem code HARDCOUNT with your first purchase all the way down to $30. That's easy. That's like 3 coffees, all right? For those of y'all that purchase coffee at certain establishments. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code HARDCOUNT. That's HARDCOUNT, HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.